A parcel locker text woke me. Inside was a hotel key and his note. At 12:53 a.m., my phone lit the bedroom like a small, nervous moon. Your parcel is ready for pickup. Locker 17B code 441,129. Our building has smart lockers by the mailroom that send polite little urgencies. Usually it's shoes we forgot we wanted. I wasn't expecting anything, unless you count an apology from the day. Beside me, Myra slept on her side, hand under her cheek, that pose she uses when she wants to be forgiven in advance. We argued about nothing that pretended to be something, who forgot to switch the laundry, whether basil belongs in the sauce or on it. The truce was the kind that keeps its shoes on. I almost ignored the text. Then the phone buzzed again. Sender added a note, for Myra, urgent. Not the locker's usual tone. The name in the sender field wasn't a store or a carrier. It was a string of digits followed by a frugal signature, R. R is never just a letter in our life. R has a coat in navy and a vocabulary tailored to rooms with more chairs than exits. He curates donors the way some men collect alibis. He's been orbiting Myra's panels for months, volunteering to amplify. He speaks in careful nouns: story, care, closure. On the days I'm better, I call him a colleague. On nights like this, he is a genre. I slid out of bed and pulled on yesterday's jeans like I was trying not to wake a cat. The hallway was a throat of quiet. Downstairs, the mailroom smelled like disinfectant and old envelopes. Locker 17B blinked its tiny green eye. I punched the code. The door popped with a private chime. Inside was a small white box like upscale pastries come in, tied with twine as if virtue were a craft. I took the box upstairs without opening it, set it on the kitchen table and turned on a single lamp, our ritual for honesty. In the quiet, the box felt heavier than its size allowed. I loosened the twine and lifted the lid. On a bed of tissue paper lay a hotel keycard in a cardboard sleeve stamped Metropole. Tucked under it, a folded note in handwriting that looked like it had to convince itself often. I didn't want to read it. I also did. I unfolded the paper like it might bite. Myra, room 512. You said you hate the theater of lobbies. This doesn't have to be a play. Leave whenever you like. If you need to say no, say it where the walls were built to keep secrets, not in your kitchen where every word becomes part of the house. Lar. Underneath, in smaller script that pretended to be responsible, your husband has my number. He can text if he'd prefer to be the person who drives you here. The word husband on a stranger's paper is a violator. I left the note on the table and went to the bedroom and watched the shape of Myra in the low light. A month ago, we promised not to let rooms become characters. The parcel had just auditioned. There is a version where I put on my shoes and go to the Metropole and say necessary sentences under a mirror that makes both men handsomer and worse. There is a version where I throw the box away like a small, flimsy demon. I did a third thing. I texted Mara. In my phone, she's asked the hard way. We met after another midnight when she told me, in a cafe where oranges forgive everyone, that spectacle is sugar and intimacy is bread. I sent a photo of the key card and the note. She replied like she keeps a blanket folded in each of our emergencies. Put it on the table. Light one lamp. Leave the door unlocked for accuracy, not for guests. Bread or sugar? Bread, I wrote, and my stomach tried to argue. Myra woke to the light, blinked, and sat up with a hand on her throat like she was checking the battery. She walked to the kitchen barefoot, saw the little box and the lamp and my face, and froze at the threshold of our table like a defendant or a priest. He used a locker, I said. She looked down at the keycard as if the cardboard sleeve had called her by a nickname. The expression she made was not surprise. It was the face a person makes when they recognize a problem's handwriting. "He thinks privacy is immoral," she said quietly. "And you?" I asked, because questions are doors and the only way to know if you're in the right room is to keep walking. "I wanted to see the word no in a bigger font," she said. "I wanted the room to clap when I chose us." She lifted the note, read it again, then set it down with the kind of care that reads as disdain. "He messaged me at 10, she said. I didn't respond. At midnight he texted our building concierge like he was a courier and left this downstairs. He prefers to curate logistics. He thinks it makes his appetite go polite." "Do you want me to text him?" I asked. "Do you want me to be the door you don't have to hold?" She met my eyes. "I want to be the woman who doesn't ask you to carry my certainty," she said. "I want to choose us in this room where we keep the coffee and the laundry and the unsexy inventory. But I need you to watch me do it, or I'll think I dreamed it." I nodded. "I am learning that my job at midnight is to keep the lamp steady." "I'm not pure," she said. "A small, ugly part of me wanted to go for 10 minutes and leave in a way that would ruin his evening and check a box in mine. I wanted to see his face perform the regret he's been practicing. I wanted to be offered sin with a return policy and then decline with a flourish. It's a vanity. I hate that I have it, and it's mine." "It's human," I said. "I prefer that you hate it, but even if you didn't, I would still stand here and hold the light while you talk." We didn't go to the Metropole. We didn't text him. We went to the bedroom because bodies tell a room what it is better than any speech. She stood and I reached for the zipper on her dress and slid it down in a movement we taught each other, slow enough to respect the fabric, sure enough to keep the courage. The sound is small and specific, the one clothes make when they admit they were only pretending to be walls. She guided my hand to her hip and pressed until my palm understood stay. I put my mouth at the hinge of her jaw where her resolve breathes, and she said my name in the version that means keep. We asked little questions, here, more, slower, and answered with breath. We laughed once because the sleeve pretended to be architecture and she rescued me with her teeth. Heat arrived like tide. We met it where we always do, surprised again. When we came apart together, it felt less like a verdict and more like our signatures practicing until they matched. After the ceiling remembered how to be patient. Myra drew a circle with one finger over the place where my worst ideas nap. "I want rules again," she said. "Not because we're children, because I like feeling resourced." "Tools, not bars," I said, our old joke. She smiled in the dark. 1. No parcels after 11. If someone wants us to know a time and a room, they can risk daylight. 2. If I need to be brave in a place with wallpaper, I tell the kitchen first. 3. I said, novelty is a chore. On my weeks, I pick the wrong hour for the right thing. On yours, you move the furniture until the light has to learn us again. 4. She said. When either of us misses being the emergency for the wrong person, we say it out loud and then do 3 stupid, ordinary things until the wanting goes back to sleep. Peel oranges over the sink. Play one song to the end before anything important. Kiss in the doorway so the apartment believes us. We did them because midnight likes to be told what to do. We peeled oranges. The scent insisted on a future. We played a song we trust not to manipulate us. We stood in the doorway and kissed like people who had both failed and then done better, and were being applauded by a building that cares. In the morning, I took the keycard back to the locker and left it in 17B with a note of my own. Room 0. Lights on. No audience. Underneath, I added Enrique's name with a thank you and a coffee card. The concierge has saved more relationships than therapy. By 9, a text arrived from an unsaved number pretending not to be him. Misunderstanding. Thought I was helping. Hope Myra received safely. I wrote back, "We live here now." Then I blocked the number because elegance should be spent in-house. We ate toast like adults and Myra read aloud from a student essay about restraint that did not make me want to retire. "Discipline is desire with a calendar," she quoted, then made a face at herself and grinned. "I want hours." At lunch I took the long way past the Metropole. The revolving door spun like it knew secrets and charged by the hour. A man in navy stood outside practicing a smile meant for donors. He saw me, adjusted, and delivered the version labeled human. "You're lucky," he said, which is what men say when they want you to turn luck into praise. "I am," I said. "I trained for it." "If you ever get bored of your kitchen," he said, with the faintest curl of contempt, "you know where to find rooms that can handle more complicated truths." "I prefer simple truths handled by complicated people," I said, and kept walking. He doesn't like anyone's back but his own. I went to Loom. Anna slid me a cookie I told her I didn't need and ate anyway. "Bread," she said, tapping the counter like a benediction. I sent Mara a picture of the returned keycard next to oranges. She replied with a photo of a theater marquee, intimacy spectacle. Then a heart without a period, her way of saying keep going. Sometimes the lockers still flash their green eyes at inconvenient hours. Sometimes the calendar tries to volunteer for other people. Sometimes our TV thinks we want to watch other lives. We have learned to put the object that hurt us on the table under one lamp and ask for one sentence we can live inside. We have learned that saying no is a thing you do with your body and your mouth at the same time. On Thursdays, we move the couch 2 inches and watch the room forget and remember us. On Sundays, we play a song to the end before anything important because attention is the muscle we want to show off. On the worst nights, we sit on the floor and peel oranges and tell each other the small jealousies we harbor, and then wait until they get bored and leave. Last night at 12:53 again, time likes its own jokes, another locker text arrived. "Parcel ready. Locker 12C, I went down because I refused to be spooked by coincidences that pay rent." Inside was a small brown paper bag with a note in Myra's hand. "Emergency bread." She'd put a tiny loaf from the bakery we like inside, still warm, a ridiculous shy heat in the late light. "Room, kitchen," she'd added under it. "Time, now." I took it upstairs, and we ate it with our fingers in the doorway so the apartment could be proud. The ceiling relaxed like it had been waiting for us to stop auditioning for harder shows. The dog claimed the last bite in our argument about Basil. We went to bed with the keycard sleeping harmless in someone else's locker, our lamp off, and the kind of ordinary that only feels like a luxury after you've held a worse script and chosen not to read it aloud. We are not pure, we are particular. We have lemons in a bowl and a pencil in the drawer and a concierge who knows when to tell men named R that the building is closed. We keep a small envelope that says "read if we forget" and inside it a single line. "Room 0, lights on, 2 people." It's easy to accept. It fits in any calendar. It makes a good habit of us.